Hey, welcome back. Today we're going to be doing this kind of easy VFX with the repeat zone. It's going to be very beginner friendly. We're going to make these kind of renders. It's going to be like 5 nodes. It'll be super straightforward, and I hope that you guys try it yourself. Let's jump right in. So we have the scene right here, and we're going to first make a fun shape to kind of work with. So we're going to take the default cube, tab into edit mode, push 3 to go to face select, and I'm just going to go up on the top view. I'm going to extrude out. Actually, you know what? Let's do A to grab everything, M, merge by distance. And let's actually make it reflecting perfectly so I can be extra lazy today. So we're gonna do modifiers, search, mirror, fantastic. Now let's delete some of these geometries. Control R for edge loop, right click to get it centered. And then I'm gonna do 1 to go into vertex select, Alt Z to get into X-ray mode, grab these guys, push X, and then delete these vertices. Nice. So now we have the reflection axis along the X, which is fantastic. So what I wanna see, we're gonna go back into edit mode with tab, push 3 to get to face select, Alt Z again to get off of the X-ray mode. We're gonna extrude this puppy out, and we're gonna grab it on the Z, pull it up, scale it in a little bit. We have this kind of anvil saddle shape. I'm gonna pull it up a bit more. That's good enough. Then I'm gonna add a modifier. I'm gonna do a bevel modifier. I'm gonna add 4 segments, and then I might make it a bit smaller, so like 0.05. There we go. So we're having some clean breaks there, and I'm gonna do Control 2 to add a subdivision surface modifier. So now we kind of have this fun looking thing. I'm at the very At the very end of this modifier stack, I'm doing this smooth by angle. So basically, the modifier stack is important. We're going mirror first, bevel, subdivision, and then the smooth. That way we kind of have this clean saddle shape. So let's call this saddle. And then I might scale it down a little bit and do Control A and apply the scale. There we go. I'm gonna grab Y or grab X, shove it to the side. We're at a new mesh, Geo Node System. Great. And then from here, we're gonna just go into geometry nodes. So we have this, we're gonna pull in the saddle object, and this is how we're gonna make our effect. So we're gonna do a repeat zone, which is just this, pop it in, and we're just gonna repeat this object right here. And let's do it a few times so you can see the options of what's happening with this kind of effect. So what we're gonna do is something really easy. We're just gonna do a transform geometry, and we're gonna repeat that a few times. So let's just kind of explore what's gonna happen. So if we move it on to Z, we're gonna wanna add a join geometry right beforehand. Then now we have it kind of going in. So I think we actually wanna do this beforehand. So if we hold Alt, we can pull this node out and socket it in here. And now we're having the original geometry right here. And it's done, so 0, 1, 2, 3, right? That makes sense. We're seeing the 3 right here. So it maths out perfectly as it's arraying out. Fantastic. Okay, so I wanna array this down, top down. So instead I want it to go -1 probably, maybe even a bit more, something like that. And then I want them to get bigger as it goes down, so it kind of has this scale effect. So we're gonna do a value node here to have all these values be the same. And let's scale it to like 1.1. How does that look? Just move this off to the side more. Grab Y or X, my bad. Slide it over, even easier. I'm pushing slash on the numpad. So I'm just soloing this right now. Fantastic. Basically the main effect is done. So we have an array, modifier making it bigger as it goes down. So it has this kind of fun scale effect, even bigger. So it can get 30% bigger each time, kind of having this cool kind of squashy effect. And then perhaps what we want to do is lower it down a bit more. So I'm holding shift as I'm adjusting this. So now we have a split between them, which is good. And then what we want to do is we're going to want to also have the rotation the main way of animating it. So if we do a separate XYZ, or I always flip these, a combine XYZ right here. We pop this into the rotation. We can use the Z and just do really small amounts, and we get this kind of rotation effect. Remember, this is in radians, so pi is 180 degrees and 2 pi is 360. So it has 1 degree of symmetry along the horizontal axis. So if it goes a pi amount, that will be a full rotation. And it's just multiplying it by the number of iterations here. So it's like 5x essentially for it. Remember, it's going from 0 to 5 over here. So it's like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So that's kind of the idea as well. So we have this going, which is cool. I also want to do a quick material to kind of show you kind of how to do that. It's really straightforward. We want to capture this iteration number, and that's going to be how we get this good material look. So we're going to do a capture attribute on the points. Fantastic. And we're going to, no, my bad. We're going to do a store named attribute. And I'll just say it num. So iteration number, pop this in, and it should be a integer. That way it's nice and clean. As you see, is it going correctly? Let's just 4. No, it's really not. So that is not working out how I wanted it to. Now we're getting it. 0, 1, 2, 3. Perfect. 3, 4, 5. Awesome. So it's going 0 through 6. Or 0 through 5, I guess. Because the first iteration is the 0th iteration. Cool. So we pop that in there. Now we're able to store the iteration number right here by popping it into the join geometry as we're pulling in the new instance. And this allows us to kind of have that coming in. Yep. Okay. So now we can have this. We're going to do a set material really quick. Set material, pop it in here, put it in material. And we're going to grab this value, control C to copy that. Now we're in shading and we go to here to the material. We do named attributes. Perfect. Paste that in. We should see different values. Perfect. So now we're seeing values across. Am I getting double 0? That's frustrating if that's the case. Let's just see. Only 0 here. Okay, so that's an issue with my attribute naming. Okay, I moved some things around to fix this kind of like counter. I don't know why it's not working with the iteration number. For some reason with the iteration number, it's just doubling it up. It's just making it have 2 instances with the same exact iteration number. I don't know why, but if you do basically the classic counter where you do the same recursive instancing with it, or the recursive calling where you have the it number twice, adding to itself, it does work now. So now it goes from 0, 1, 2, 3, right? So 0, 1, 2, 3. That's 3 iterations as we would expect. You have 6, it's more. I changed the node layout a little bit, but it means the same thing. You can also do the join geometry a little different here too. It's all the same, it still works. Now the material is gonna be, I'm happier with the material. I was just really pissed that it wasn't perfect. That was a fun distraction. Thanks for dealing with it. Cool, so now we're in the shader editor again. And then what we can do is take the overall number, which you know right here is 3 iterations or something. So if we actually take this as a group input, we can know the iteration number every time. So we click into it, we see the modifiers, it's 3, makes it easy to remember. And then this number can go into a map range, and then it can do this. And we know the max is 3, right? So it's being remapped to 0 to 1. So we pipe it into here. We now have a nice gradient between them. So it's a clean difference. And then obviously we have a nice gradient from 0 to 1. What do you use? What do you use? A color ramp. So you pipe it in there. Then you can choose whatever colors you want. I'm going to invert it. I think it looks better to have white kind of on the top. I'm going to do a B-spline. And then we're going to go from, I don't know, red to blue, something like that. And then if we have a nice subsurface on as well, let's also make sure we have ray tracing enabled. Fantastic. And let's turn this on to 1. Let's increase the scale. Let's change to here. Mesh. This is like the hack for these fun kind of abstract animations. S10, S10, grab Z down. We go here, we grab this, we get it close. Wow, it looks so good because it has subsurface, and subsurface is like the easiest way of having something look nice. So we go here, maybe lower the light to like 500. Add a little bit of color to the light, maybe like a blue, just a tiny bit. Alt D to dupe, I guess instance it. We have like this, and then we can then change the scaling of this. Maybe it's like 0.6 seems good. And I like to add reference really low, so it's like this kind of like gooey, shiny thing. It looks very nice with a lot of shine, and you're basically good to go. And if you want to add a bunch more detail for free, you can do a roughness map with a noise texture or a bump. And we do a bump node. We pipe it into the height, pipe this into the normal, maybe increase this distance. Oh my God, it's crazy. Look at all this free detail. Wow, this is so crazy. We can increase the scale, maybe to like, let's see what this looks like. Oop, Control T, make sure it's object on this puppy, delete it. And then, that looks good. We're here. This is a little bit too crunchy for me. So we're gonna pull this strength down, maybe to like this. Now it has a bit of a bump, which is, look at this nice little shadowing right here, right? Looks nice. It's a bit of a bump, maybe even increase the scale again with this if we want. I don't know, I think around 1.1 maybe is good. And that's basically it. You have a material, you have a kind of a system, and you can animate it really easily inside the geometry nodes right here. Why is this? Oh, it's slash to get back in the scene. And then we can animate this very slowly back and forth. So let's do that really quick inside geometry nodes with, what are we gonna use? What are we gonna use? What's the big question? Float curve and frames, because we're lazy. 60 FPS, 180, starting at 0, a little over 3 seconds. Scene time, we have the frame, we're gonna do a math. We're gonna divide it by what? Total number of frames, which is 180, not 18,000. And then we have this going into a float curve. And then from here, this is going to interpolate our value from 0 to 1, which is cool. And then we're going to then use another math node to multiply this by how much we want it to go. So maybe we want it to go from like -1 to 1, right? So we have a nice kind of back and forth thing, which I think would look nice with radians. So how do we do that? We're going to pull this in as a number, and we're going to do a subtraction by 0.5, because now we know it's going to, so before it was, let's say, 0 to 1, right? Number line. Now, if we subtract by 0.5, which is here, now it's from -0.5 to 0.5, right? It's a new range, same distance, right? Perfect. I now know that because I subtracted it by that. Then what I can do is take this and then multiply it by 2. Now it's going from -1 to 1 with the same float curve interpolation, which looks great. So now we have a nice kind of random number, or not a random, now we have a nice interpolated value going from -1 to 1. And what's the value we want to play with? It's probably going to be, and let's just do this value. Let's do pi divided by 6. Let's see how that looks. Pop it in here. Cool. And then what we want to do is change this interpolation to have it go back and forth. And we're going to do that by, and then we're going to do the interpolation like this, kind of this sine wave, in order to make sure we're going to hit it to look correct. We know at 0.5, we're going to be having it be at 0, right? Because remember, we have this number line, so it's -1, 0, 1. This is our interpolation. And so for radians, 1 is not like 1. It's like whatever that is in degrees, because 3.14 is like 180 degrees. So that's not what that is. It's like something else. It's who knows. And so basically we want to make sure we're centering it at 0. So it's going back and forth, interpolating in between the two of them. And so by having these points here, we can then change how this would look. So this kind of will change how our animation looks. We can make it a bit more spiky and a bit more fun. I think this kind of back and forth kind of little wiggle jiggle is kind of cool. Happy with it. And I might want to add some more iterations. So we can do this here in iterations. Let's go to 5, and we're going to change the shading into here, and the max should also be 5. So let's do 5 here. We get a cleaner look, and we're going to go here, grab Z down, scale 2. Okay, apply scale. Cool. Awesome. Nice. So this is kind of the main effect. You can play with it and finish the render as much as you want. I kind of like this top-down view. I think it's a fun way of getting this kind of like kinetic kind of movement with all the repeat zone instance stuff. I hope you guys try it yourself. It's really straightforward. And again, the node tree is just, honestly, all of this you could just do in keyframes, but I kind of like doing it just with the geometry node stuff, so it stays, procedural and easy to mess around with. But you could do this all yourself, and hopefully you try it yourself and have a lot of fun playing around with it. Thanks so much for watching.